Hello, Coach Holmes here, and today we're going to be talking about parallel lines and transversals. All right, so what's the difference between the two? Well, we know for one thing, they both have a transversal line. If you remember from yesterday, transversal means that it's any line that goes through multiple lines. So both of them go through at least two lines. But the biggest difference is that this right here is parallel. Always have parallel lines. Okay? This one does not. We know it's not intersecting at this moment, but we know it eventually will. Now, when I see these two arrows, they both mean parallel. Okay? So anytime I see arrows like this, I know that they're all given as parallel lines. Okay? Now, when it comes to parallel lines and transversals, they have a special relationship, especially with alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, corresponding angles, and consecutive interior angles. They all have special relationships. Now, what are they exactly? Well, for alternate interiors, the pairs are the same. So any time that I look for or find alternate interior angles, the angles are the same measurements. So for example, if I have two pairs of alternate interior angles and one of them is 61 degrees, well, I know the other one's going to be 61 degrees, given that the two lines are parallel. Now, alternate exterior angles, the pairs are the same. So even with alternate exterior angles, the measurements are going to be the same as well. Now, what about corresponding? The pairs are the same. So again, as long as I know if I have corresponding angles, I know that they're going to be the same measurements. Now, consecutive interior angles, not quite the same, but the pairs add up to 180 degrees. So any two pairs of consecutive interior angles are going to add up to 180 degrees. Now, excuse me. So now, I want to be able to figure out what each of these angles are, okay? So if I know that these two angles right here, where it's 60 degrees and angle 4, if these are alternate interior angles, I know that angle 4 is going to be 60 degrees. I mean, alternate exterior angles, I'm sorry. Alternate exterior angles, because they're the same. Now, how do I identify angle 1? Well, remember, this line and this line right here, they basically form a linear pair. And we know linear pairs add up to 180 degrees. So if I can just simply say 120 minus 60, or 100 minus 80, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. 180 minus 60, that gives me 120 degrees. So angle 1 is 120 degrees. Now, what's the alternate exterior angle for angle 1? It's going to be angle 5. Therefore, angle 5 is 120 degrees. Now, angle 6 is a corresponding angle to here. So I know angle 6 is going to be 60 degrees. Just like how angle 1 is corresponding to angle 3. And that's 120 degrees. Now, angle 3 is alternate interior angles to angle 7. So that's 120 degrees right there. But how do we figure out angle 2? Well, remember, we have consecutive interior angles, which means that angle 3 plus angle 2 gives me 180. Well, since I know angle 3 is 120, subtract 180 from 120, and I get 60 degrees. So angle 2 is 60 degrees. I'm going to put a degree sign for each one. Okay? So that's how I can go about knowing my angles, finding my angles, given that the two lines are parallel. Okay? So that's how I can go about finding my angles, given that the two lines are parallel. I just gotta know and be aware of the pair of angles that I have. Now, how do I find these angles? How do I find x? Well, again, if this is 130, and I'll rewrite it a little bit better. Okay? If I know this is 130, then I know this has to be 50. How do I know that? 180 minus 130, because remember, this little straight line is 180. Subtract the difference, and I get 50 degrees. Now, because these two are corresponding, I can set it equal to each other, solve for x. 2 times x, remember I gotta divide by 2, and that gives me 25. Okay? Now, if I have these two angles right here, these are alternate exterior angles. So I know that they're going to be added up the same, added up. Okay? So I gotta add 3 to both sides. 6y equals 132. Now divide by 6 to both sides, which I put it to the side right here. Six would be 2, 22. So y is equal to 22 degrees. So the biggest key in today's lesson is that not only do I have to be aware of transversals through a parallel line, but also the relationship between the pair angles. Alternate interior are the same, alternate exterior are the same, corresponding angles are the same, but consecutive interior angles add up to 180. So we gotta remember that of those 3 are the same, but only consecutive interior angles adds up to 180. And by knowing those facts, we will be able to figure out what the angles are, or even to be able to find x, given the pair of angles that we have. Thank you, and have a good day.